Verso le 3:30 di questa notte un uomo originario di Bari ma residente nel Bresciano da alcuni anni, di 33 anni, ha compiuto una vera e propria mattanza. Ha ucciso per strada la sua ex moglie, una maestra d'asilo.
My mandate on this special editorial on violence against women searches for causes and consequences of violence in the family, violence within the community, violence against women in the church, violence perpetrated or condoned by the state, and violence in the transnational sphere, including violence against refugees, asylum seeking women, and migrant women. On the 15th through the 26th of January 2012, the United Nations Special Rapporteur Rashida Manjoo visited Italy to gather information about violence against women in the country. Ms. Manjoo traveled through Rome, Milan, Bologna, and Naples, where she held discussions with government authorities and representatives of the civil society. She also visited shelters and detention centers and met with individual victims of gender-based violence. Based on the information obtained during her visit, Ms. Manjoo will present a report with her final findings and recommendations to the 20th session of the Human Rights Council in June 2012. This was her first visit to Italy by an independent expert charged by the UN Human Rights Council to monitor violence against women, its causes and consequences. At least 1 in 4 women experience domestic abuse and over their lifetime. The problem has been a major concern in Italy, where the attack of jealous husbands are rarely regarded as a crime and where this crime is becoming a plague. Passionate and hot-blooded, possessive but always incredibly romantic Italian couples have lived up to this stereotype for centuries. But what about our dear and lovely Ghanaian ladies, mothers, friends, and children? Men in most cultures, whether they be Ghanaians or Italians, are not punished if they are sexually abusing their partners. This was the case in Italy until 1996. According to an old Italian legislation, a man could kill his wife if she was cheating on him. Until recently, many abuse on women were shifted on immigrants, saying Italians are very gentlemen. And as for we Ghanaians, a woman who dared to report an abuse was said to have merited it for her either dressing loosely or being too, quote, big-mouthed, unquote. Submission was the therapy given to Ghanaian women be they animists, Christians or Muslims. And in Italy, most of the abuse against women are immediately shifted on immigrants who come from Eastern Europe. Italians never. The Italian women, on the other hand, hiding behind their pride, say, quote, "We are women of the 21st century and unlike those in the third world," unquote. But the latest Italian figures suggest victims of domestic violence in Italy is escalating. Psychologists say the high figures are because women are now less afraid to report their partners. Psychotherapist and sex therapist Paola Matucci says that the situation has improved. Women read more and have access to information, quote and unquote. I don't think so, because terrible stories again and again take place almost every day. Based on the poll, every 4th woman in Italy has at least once been subjected to psychological or physical violence by a man. There's no way to pick out who the next victim could be, and as yet nobody has come out with a fail-safe way of spotting a potential aggressor. the drama goes on. Italian televisions, with its provocative images of women, is often blamed for the problem. After stripping on TV, model Michelle Husinger struggled with the consequence of it for years. Then she decided to open her own center for victims of psychological violence. But she still believes the problem of violence against women is not because women misbehave or exploit their looks, but just because they are women. Italy has laws protecting women from every form of abuse. So why isn't it working? I personally believe that the answer is in the Genesis 3 factor. And this battle shall not be won by power, might, nor human wisdom, but by the blood and wisdom of Christ. I also feel that the church in Italy, the community which hosts the majority of Ghanaians every Sunday, should go above the submission, quotes, lectures, unquote, and promote conferences, seminars, and debates that touches the root of the problem, offering spiritual, emotional, and psychological counsel and assistance to both parties, that's man and woman. Social centers are available for counseling and assistance to such women. Find yours and don't hesitate when you find yourself in danger. Happy Women's Day. On the 8th of March 2012, the yearly celebrations of women was bitterly watered down by the murder of Esmeralda, which took place on Monday, the 5th of March, just 3 days before the International Women's Day and 2 days after a school teacher was also brutally shot down in the streets of the Sao Paulo quarters in Brescia. And after a man also in Verona strangles his own wife, and another decides to take the life of her own fiancé at Calciti in Piacenza. Thus, the happy celebrations of the day was turned into a day for necessary reflection on the very role of women, but also of women in relationships. Of this, Prefect Antonio Puglisi spoke of the urgent need for public safety, going as far as to say that what happened to Esmeralda is becoming a pathology eating the society. The yellow mimosa that usually invaded the city on such a day was a bit less alive, but the necessity for a high duty to promote social and cultural role of women as the foundation for a society and family was heightened. This was the focus of the many events held in the city of Piacenza, 8 province, and the whole of Italy. The attention of all political parties, the Northern League, the Communist Refundation, the PDL, PD, UDC, together with the trade unionists, particularly CIGIL, organized a busy schedule of events. Also, many associations in the nation concentrated on using the pink color instead of the yellow mimosa as a sign that no one can forget Esmeralda, the foreign citizen who just wanted to live a peaceful life with her daughter in Italy. The International Women's Day, IWD, originally called International Working Women's Day, is marked on the 8th of March every year. In different regions, the focus of the celebrations ranges from general celebrations of respect, appreciation, and love towards women to a celebration for women's economic, political, and social achievements. Started as a social political event, The holiday blended in the culture of many countries, primarily Eastern Europe, Russia, and the former Soviet bloc. In many regions, the day lost its pop political flavor and became simply an occasion for men to express their love for women in a way somewhat similar to a mixture of Mother's Day and St. Valentine's Day. In other regions, however, the original political and human rights theme designated by the United Nations ran strong, and political and social awareness of struggles of women worldwide are brought out and examined in a hopeful manner. Thus, in this issue, we dedicated an opinion page to inquire from some of our readers a selective and accordable question as stated above, and to which some promptly answered. Evelyn Andrews, CEO of the Trinity Bookshop, Brescia, says, "Woman was created when man realized that he was alone after he had finished naming all the animals which were in pairs." She says the Lord caused the deep sleep and formed a woman out of man. A woman naturally cannot match up to the man's strength, and therefore she advises that in order to protect yourself from a violent man, the woman must seek help for this man. She says women tend to hide and make up stories when they are in violent relationships. They should also go for a walk when sparks of violence are about to erupt, or seek the face of God. Eunice, beautician and hairstylist, Brescia, says she thinks the woman should first learn to be long-suffering, and then, if the situation persists or becomes unbearable, quits.